Maybe this feels familiar. You meet a woman and something about her just grabs you. The way she talks, the way she smiles, the energy she carries. But no matter what you do, she doesn't seem to feel the same. You text her and she takes hours to reply. You try to make her laugh and she just gives you that polite smile. Deep down, you're wondering, what does she see in other guys that she doesn't see in me? If this is you, you've probably replayed the moments in your head. What you said, what you should have said, how maybe if you acted more confident or less available, things might have gone differently. You tell yourself not to care, but you do. You care more than you want to admit. Because when you see her giving her attention to someone else, it doesn't just sting. It makes you question your worth. Maybe you've started to believe that attraction is just luck, that some guys have it and some don't. But what if it's not luck? What if attraction isn't something you chase, but something you trigger? What if you could make any woman, even the one who barely notices you right now, feel something she can't explain? Something that pulls her toward you without her even understanding. Why? Most men get this part wrong. Not because they're weak, but because no one ever taught them how attraction really works. They think wanting her more, chasing harder, or proving themselves will somehow make her feel something she doesn't. But that energy, that need, it pushes her away. Women can feel it. They don't respond to effort. They respond to energy. See, the moment you start chasing a woman who's not interested, you've already handed over your power. You've told her, without words, that her attention defines your value. And that's the first mistake. Because the more you try to earn what should be chosen, the more invisible you become. If you want to make a woman want you, especially one who doesn't right now, you have to flip the dynamic. You have to stop moving toward her and start moving within yourself. The core masculine principle most men miss is this. A man's power doesn't come from being desired. It comes from being unshakable, whether he is or isn't. When you're grounded, calm, and certain of who you are, women feel it. Not because of what you say or do, but because of what you don't need, that calm presence, that quiet confidence. It speaks louder than charm or compliments ever could. So the real question isn't, how do I make her want me? The real question is, how do I become the kind of man she can't help but feel drawn to, even when I'm not trying? He saw her again tonight, same coffee shop, same table by the window. She laughed that effortless, unbothered kind of laugh that always seemed to pull the air out of the room. And once again, he felt it. That quiet ache in his chest that said, she's everything I want and I'm invisible to her. He glanced down at his reflection in the cup, pretending to stir sugar he didn't need. What am I missing? He thought. I'm not ugly. I'm not stupid. I'm not boring. But when she looked up, her eyes passed right through him, like he was just another shadow in her day. He'd tried everything before, the jokes, the compliments, the texts that lingered unseen. Every time, he thought maybe she'd notice the effort. She didn't. She never did. And each attempt left him a little smaller, a little more uncertain of himself. He sat back in his chair, exhaling through his nose. There was a silence in that moment, not the kind that comes from emptiness, but from exhaustion. Kind that comes when a man's finally tired of trying to be someone else just to be seen. He looked at her again, this time differently. Not as something towing, but as a mirror reflecting everything he'd been chasing outside of himself. Approval, validation, control. And for the first time, he didn't move. He didn't overthink. He didn't reach for his phone. He just sat there, calm, present, breathing. He realized something. The more he tried to make her see him, the less he actually saw himself. And in that silence, something shifted, not in her, but in him. His shoulders dropped, his jaw unclenched, his heartbeat slowed. He wasn't trying anymore. When he stood to leave, she noticed her eyes flickered toward him. Just for a moment. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't a movie moment, but it was real, because she felt something different. The calm in him, the certainty, the quiet energy that didn't beg for her attention. It commanded it. And as he walked past her table, he didn't need her to look again. He already knew. Sometimes the moment she starts to want you isn't when you impress her. It's when you finally stop needing to. Most men grow up believing attraction is something you earn, that if you just say the right words, dress the right way, or prove you're good enough, she'll finally see your value. But that's the first false belief. Because real attraction doesn't start when she notices you. It starts when you remember yourself. See, when you chase a woman's interest, what you're really saying underneath all that effort is, I'm not enough as I am. And that energy, that quiet insecurity, it leaks through every text, every glance, every attempt to impress. She doesn't feel your confidence, she feels your need. The truth is, women don't fall for men who try to convince them. They fall for men who don't have to, Because a grounded man doesn't perform. He projects. He doesn't seek attention. He commands it. Here's the second false belief. Most men think disinterest means rejection. They take it personally as if her no means you're not worthy. But attraction isn't moral, it's emotional. It's not about how nice you are or how much effort you give. It's about how she feels in your presence. And she can't feel anything real if you're disconnected from yourself. So when she pulls away, don't ask, what's wrong with her? Ask, where did I lose my center? Because maybe she didn't ghost you. Maybe you disappeared from yourself. That's the part no one tells you. Women aren't drawn to your words, your looks, or your charm. They're drawn to your presence, the quiet certainty that says, I'm already complete. That's the kind of energy that magnetizes people, not just women, everyone. When you become that man, calm, sure, whole, her interest stops mattering, you stop performing, you stop trying to make her want you. And ironically, that's when she starts to, because desire isn't built through pursuit, it's built through polarity, through stillness, through certainty, through a man who doesn't need to be chosen to know his worth. Remember this, she didn't lose interest. She just felt yours fade into insecurity, and she didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. So stop asking how to make her want you and start asking how to return to the man you were before you needed her to. Because that man, he's the one she'll always feel drawn to. Even when she doesn't understand why, most men react when a woman isn't interested. They chase harder, text more, try to prove their worth. They let her disinterest control their energy. But the 3% man, he moves differently. He doesn't need to chase because he understands something deeper. Attraction isn't something you create through effort. It's something you allow through energy. This is what he understands. When a woman isn't interested, it's not a threat to his value. It's a mirror showing him how attached he is to validation. The average man feels rejection as proof that he's not enough. The 3% man feels it as an invitation to come back to himself. He's calm, not because he's cold, but because he's centered. He doesn't force outcomes. He allows them. He's learned that masculine power isn't about controlling who stays. It's about being so grounded that whoever belongs naturally wants to, when other men overthink, why isn't she texting? Did I say something wrong? Should I call her? He's quiet. He's not trying to win her over. He's observing. He's aware of his emotions, but not ruled by them. This is how he leads with presence, not pressure. He knows that women aren't drawn to the man who needs them. They're drawn to the man who's free. The one who doesn't make her the center of his world, but instead invites her to join his. That kind of energy feels safe, magnetic, rare, because it's not born from ego, it's born from clarity. This is what the 3% man lives by. I don't need you to choose me for me to feel like a man. That's not arrogance, that's awareness. It's the understanding that desire isn't about performing. It's about being. He leads his life with purpose. He listens deeply. He speaks slowly. He acts with intent. And because of that, his presence lingers long after he's gone, where the average man tries to make a woman feel something. The 3% man becomes something she feels, without a word, without a chase, without pretending to be more than he is. And that's the shift from seeking to earning to embodying, from needing to be seen to simply seeing himself. Because when you finally stop trying to make her want you, you become the man every woman quietly hopes she'll meet. The one who doesn't lose himself in pursuit but finds himself in patience. That's the difference between most men and the 3% man. He doesn't attract through effort. He attracts through essence. It happens quietly, not in a moment of victory, but in a moment of exhaustion. You've replayed it all again. The messages left unread, the looks that went nowhere, the small hopes that faded faster than you could hold onto them. You sit there, phone in hand, scrolling through the empty space between what you wanted and what actually happened. And for once, you don't feel anger, you don't feel jealousy, you just feel done. There's a kind of peace that only comes after you've tried everything. A strange silence that shows up when the noise in your head finally runs out of places to go. And in that silence, you hear something faint but familiar, a voice you haven't listened to in a long time. It says you've been waiting for her to see your worth, but you forgot that it was never hers to give. You pause, you breathe, something clicks. You realize all this time you weren't trying to win her. You were trying to prove yourself. You thought her attention would confirm that you mattered. But somewhere deep down you already knew. No one else was supposed to validate what was always yours. You start remembering things. The times you laughed without needing an audience. The days you walked with certainty before anyone told you were confident. The quiet, steady fire that used to live in your chest before you started dimming it to seem worthy. You look around, same room, same world, but something feels different. It's not that she changed, it's that you did. You've stopped asking for her interest to measure your importance. You stop needing someone to choose you before you choose yourself. And in that moment, the waiting ends. You sit a little straighter. Your breath slows. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You finally understand that. Presence is louder than pursuit. This is what awakening feels. Not fireworks, not revenge, not validation. Just quiet clarity. You've been chasing something outside of you that was never missing inside of you. You're not trying to make her want you anymore. You're remembering why you don't need her to. And ironically, that's the moment she starts to notice, because when you return to yourself, truly, fully, unapologetically, the world begins to feel your gravity again. The moment you stop trying to be the man she wants is the moment you become the man she can't forget.